And welcome to the Breakfast Blend with Mac and Morgan. I'm Mac.
I'm Morgan.
Games, news, coffee. A little more coffee than usual today, but totally worth it. And now I will, as George Carlin once said, I will share a swallow with you. Which now, as an adult, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Probably couldn't hear it. That's all right. Here we go. The news for today. We have CD Projekt Red, the creators of The Witcher 2, have released the official beta of their modding toolkit. This comes after an accidental leak last week. The Steam database has revealed an entry for Steam Trading Card Beta Access. We don't know what that is. It's all speculation, really. But the two most popular theories that we've heard are it could either be support for trading card games or the ability to trade in-game items amongst supported games. Let's see. A producer of BioWare has suggested that spin-off games from the Mass Effect universe are a possibility. VP Joe Biden points out that there is no legislation preventing additional taxation of violent games. And Square Enix blames their larger-than-expected losses this past year on internal restructuring and oligarchical nature of the console industry. You must love the irony of using terminology that no one understands to describe a situation no one gives a fuck about. All right, an oligarchy. I am not too proud to admit that I looked that shit up. And an oligarchy I got, it was an oligarchopoly. Is that how they say it? Oligarch. You know, I don't even know the way they use it. Basically, they were saying a monopoly on an industry that is not perpetrated by an individual, but rather a small group of powerful people. Because that's an oligarchy, is when, you know, the many are controlled by the few. But I've never heard that word used that way, as an oligarchopoly. Is that right? I really got to check. I really do, because I know it's something like that, and I am not giving up on it. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Oligopolistic.
Close enough.
Yeah, we just make shit up now at Square Enix. It's at least based on real. I've never heard that. Anyway, so moving right along, I will say on that specific topic, I don't give a fuck. Okay, first of all, it's ridiculous that they're considering it a failure, that they have failed and they have these losses. Here's the stats. Tomb Raider sold 3.4 million copies. Sleeping Dogs, nearly 2 million. And Hitman Absolution, like 3.9, I think. Maybe 3.6. Either way, we're looking at nearly 10 million games sold, and they're operating at a loss. Okay? That's insane. How can you be considered a failure? I wish to God.
Those are great numbers.
I know, right? But apparently it's not. So what the fuck is money being spent on? You know, whose salary is preventing this? Because let's be honest, that's what it really comes down to. I guarantee there's no way that they weren't profitable in any way. Like, I'm sure if everybody just took like a normal human being salary, you know, and in the upper echelons, like maybe, hey, that's what Sony did, right?
Yeah. All
right, no bonuses for you guys this year. Oh, hey, look, we're profitable. Wow, that's amazing. That seems like an odd cause and effect, don't you think? I'm proposing with this that maybe it's just the system is being pushed towards the model presented by film, where there are a handful of, because that's okay. I should clarify. Square is saying essentially that there's only a handful of games, companies that make games that really get bought, because those are the names everybody knows, and they're the ones that have the best practices with the retailers. And I mean, it's kind of true. Think about how many fucking people buy Call of Duty. So Activision is just raking it in.
Yeah.
And then there's Battlefield, and then there's Halo. So yeah, in a sense, that's there. But that didn't exist. Like, those games weren't just miraculously overnight popular. There was stuff went into it. And I'm just saying that maybe Square's not making games that people are really into. so much anymore. But maybe we're shifting away from hundreds of publishers and developers and going more towards what film went through, which is there's a handful of publishers and then just a shit ton of developers that then just get backing.
Right.
And I know that that's, to a degree, that's the way it is now, but it may be. This is what the situation now is more similar to the way film was in the golden era, back when we still did musicals and stuff, where studios actually had stables of actors. So if you were watching a Warner Brothers film, you were seeing Gene Kelly,
right?
And you know what I mean. And that's the way it worked. Like they were part and parcel of that, and then they would like swap out and trade and shit, which is actually kind of neat. It's like, oh my god, we're seeing Cary Grant in this other studio's films because they would loan them out for certain things. Like, I'm sure the actors probably didn't care much for that.
No, being pimped out.
Yeah, basically indentured servants.
Yeah.
But I think it also, in that sense, it's also very similar to this, that the actors' salaries were kept at a cap. Sort of like, putting caps on baseball teams and whatnot. They had a limit that they couldn't ever exceed because if they did not sign on with these studios, they didn't get work.
Right.
And I think that whole scenario is very similar to the way things are now. Almost nobody knows the people who actually make the games. You recognize a handful of really famous people, but typically those really famous people are the people who own the company. Like you look at Irrational Games, they make BioShock. Who do you know? You know Ken Levine. Like that's the name the average person is familiar with, if they're familiar at all. Like I'm not much better. I think Amy Hennig, I believe, wrote that. Maybe not. You see, like I don't even know. There it is. Like that proves my point. We hardly know any of the people behind these things. We remember a handful of superstars. John Carmack, John Romero, Ken Levine. Yeah, I'm pretty much done there. That's about it. Randy Pitchford, that motherfucker at Gearbox. Oh, I'm ashamed of myself for knowing that. Yeah, Borderlands 2. They are just breaking all kinds of fucking sales records. Motherfuckers. Hate them so bad
every
right now.
day.
For those of you that have missed it, I have an ongoing war with Gearbox. And by war, I mean I say awful shit and they completely ignore me. I am so angry at the way the Borderlands 2 thing went down. I will condense it into a 10-second version. They have tons of content that they are charging too much for. They had a shitty methodology of giving away content for pre-orders that failed if you didn't pick up your pre-orders before a certain point. And lastly, they are putting out these golden keys that you can use to unlock super powerful weapons, but they dole them out like fucking AIDS medicine in Africa. It's like you just here you go, here's your little drop. Hope you make it to the next month. And the shit, and then you wait forever to get this thing, and then you use the key and you get something completely useless, just over and over. And then once you've used them, they're gone forever. Anyway. Nobody cares about my Borderlands 2 rant. Still haven't played it. I've stuck to my guns. Have not even put that shit. It's gone. I have not touched Borderlands 2 ever since. I don't even know where it is anymore. And I'm proud of myself for that. Not so proud that I spent the money that I've now not made use of.
Right.
But fuck them. All right. So the CD Projekt Red. I love this idea. The modding. I think modding is fantastic, just in general. Skyrim does it heavily. I know that there are places that compile Skyrim mods and whatnot. I think I saw a Star Wars one once, which is really cool. But what CD Projekt Red lets you do, apparently, with this, I can't even remember what it's called, the tool, but you get to build the worlds. Like in Skyrim, you can just like change people's outfits and maybe some mechanics. You can add armor and shit like that, which is interesting. I think they added... Well, in any event, you still just are existing in Skyrim there. But this methodology, this will let you create whatever you want with the existing tools. Like, this is basically, hey, ever wanted to make a game?
Here it is.
go for it.
Sounds great.
I think I so wish that I had the time and the patience to learn this thing. But I mean, it is not. This is for those of you out there that have any interest at all in getting into the gaming industry. This is your method. You buy this game, then use the toolkit. It's PC only. I probably shouldn't have to say that, but there's probably one or two guys out there that are like, well, I could do it with my copy on the 360. No, sorry, guys.
That's what I was thinking.
Okay,
so I'm one of the three guys.
So
Sweet.
PC only, but whatever you can imagine, you can make. And they are coming up with a patch, and this really drove the whole thing home for me. They're coming up with a patch that will allow you to lip sync the characters with voiced content. So if you can record yourself, you can put this in there, and you can have your own dialogue.
Oh.
Could you imagine?
That
You would
sounds
literally
like a
be
lot
playing
of
a game.
fun. Yeah.
Like, if you could get a couple of buddies together, and have one guy design. I mean, but then we're talking about a fucking game business. Like, you are now a developer, and you're using someone else's tools. That's what it is. And this has it all there for you. And seriously, Witcher 2, gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful game. I don't actually like the game itself, the mechanics. The reason I don't like it is it's one of those games that's like a hub world system. Sort of like Kingdoms of Amalur or Dragon Age, things like that, where you go to a place and then you can wander around, but it's not really like a sandbox open world, do whatever you want. You do it in a set area, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but if they're not heavily populated, which this is better than most on the population, but it starts to feel kind of dead, and you really feel like you're just wandering around in a cubbyhole somewhere. I don't necessarily care for those. It can be done well, but my real issue with The Witcher is it kind of tries a little too hard with its story. And there's this whole mechanic that is probably far superior with keyboard, but every time you go into a battle, you're going to die. That's basically what it is. So the only way to stop that from happening is you have to drink potions that you make. So you're an alchemist on the side. But you have to find the recipes in order to do that. And I like that mechanic. There's a shit ton going on. And now as I'm talking about it, I'm such a douche. Like, I'm saying I don't like it. Now I'm like, God, I got to go play this again. But you have to mix these potions to give you these buffs before the combat, and then toss them back. And you can only take so many because they're toxic. So you have a limited amount, and you can improve the amount that you can consume. But you're not going to survive if you don't drink these fucking potions. I do not care for the fact that it is a mandatory feature. Like, I'm sure maybe there's a way to be awesome at the game and avoid all the damage and whatnot, but I really don't think so. And then you have to use... Well, again, you don't have to, because I made it pretty far without, because it just took too long. You have traps and all kinds of special shit that you can lay on the ground. And so, like, if you draw them to you, and it'll blow up and all that kind of shit. And that's neat, but, again, I don't feel that these things, particularly given the difficulty of using them. Also, pulling up the wheel to make it possible kind of pulls you out of the game itself.
Yeah. So
you don't really feel like it's combat now. So if you're going to do that, then it should be turn-based, in my opinion. And since we're not going to do this turn-based, the I don't know, hotkeys, shit like that. Maybe there were hotkeys on the PC, on the 360. I don't even remember now. It's been so long. I think you could like hotkey like one potion, but you can't mix potions in battle. You got to do it beforehand. So you got to make exactly the ones you think you'll need, which means go in there, die, and be like, oh, okay, I need something that's going to hurt an ice creature. Okay, let's come back here.
So you need before you go into battle, you need to create some potions.
Right, and you have to go into a meditative state. It's like he literally has to sit down and get into this zone where he, in his mind where he's
light some incense.
Yeah.
And then you have to you have the option to put down traps as well.
Right, which is a little
all
faster.
Before...
No. The trap thing happens in the fights.
So you can throw stuff down as you're running around.
Right, but it's the classic thing where it takes a second. So if you do it and they're running at you, like, they're going to miss. And, it's not going to be set in time, and they're going to fucking whack you in the head. The combat itself was kind of neat, swinging swords and whatnot. It was fun, but I felt that the combat became too tedious. And then when you weren't in combat, oh my God, I think it was just too much of the story. Like, it was well done. They were good characters. There was a shit ton of voice acting. but I wasn't invested. Like, I really didn't care. Like, I didn't care about the guy that I was. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I'm supposed to like him. I'm supposed to hate him. He's supposed to be an anti-hero. I don't really care for most of his peripheral characters. I don't really care for this reality. I think I'm just not a high fantasy kind of guy. You know, the swords and sorcery thing just really doesn't do it.
I'm
for
not.
Me. You know, Mass Effect. We'll just segue right there. Mass Effect has a lot of similar concepts, tons of dialogue, but it was set in the fucking future, and I loved it. I mean, I went through all kinds of sometimes I would save beforehand just so that I could see the result of different dialogues with people. Just I wanted to hear what would happen if I was like a douche, as opposed to, you know, the paragon of virtue that I actually played the game as. And speaking of, we're going to have I shouldn't say we're going to, but it looks very likely that there will be games in the BioWare universe based on the secondary characters. You have not played any in the Mass Effect universe. You have not played any Mass Effect games. I am proposing that we make that happen, considering the games are on a compilation and at a discount. Like, it's less than one game, and you get all three, and it makes it easier for you to carry over.
Yeah,
right there. Like, you don't have to wait. You just boom, next.
Go right into the next.
And you will get to experience the improved ending right off the bat, rather than the wait of a few weeks that everyone else had to deal with. I don't think you're really going to appreciate the ending either way. But I tell you what, which is a really sad thing, that everything up to that is fucking awesome. In fact, I'll say the second game was probably the highlight of the whole series. It was amazing. What the changes, the shift in tone and everything from the one before. It was like, I was like, oh my god, I really feel like I'm playing a movie now. Third one kind of went away from that, and it lost some of the edginess and came back. You know, now it's like, well, I'm not gonna ruin it for you, but it was more like the first one, and it was a lot more about the interaction, less is about the combat. So, you know, it's a taste, but it's sad that you go through all of that and the payoff isn't that great. However, I would say that is infinitely superior than having to play a shit ton of a game that sucks just to get to some awesome ending.
Right.
I'd rather have that. I actually read an article, I think it was Edge, this week. They reviewed Tomb Raider. This guy's a fucking tool. He's like, the game really, it really didn't do it for me. I didn't care for this. I didn't like her. I didn't find her believable. I didn't like all this shit that he didn't care about.
Anything about the shaky camera?
No mention of the shaky cam. Fucking A. I still haven't played the game. I haven't continued because every time I go to boot it up, I'm just like, I don't know if I can deal with that. Because it annoys me so badly. But he says that the game comes into its own when you because afterwards, beating it, you get to go back into all these areas, and it's more like the original Tomb Raider. It's more about the exploration, not so much the combat, which I do appreciate. I loved the original Tomb Raider. I loved the kind of emptiness and the solace, and you just, like, every once in a while, you would have a fight, and the juxtaposition of the intensity of having to take on some creature or some dudes when the rest of the game was mostly just you wandering through crypts and shit.
Yeah.
Like, it really drove it home how terrifying that could be. It was awesome. Loved it. Also, I spent way too much time in Tomb Raider just having her pull out her fucking pistols. It was a button. She would just pull them out of her, and it made this noise as they, like, slid out of the leather. I fucking loved it. I don't know what it was. I was just constantly doing that. Like, I would just be running down the hallway and just like, okay, put them away. Okay, pull them out. Put them away. Pull them out. Unfortunately, though, this article in The Edge saying that it comes into its own after it's complete is bullshit. That is the dumbest. Oh, I'm sorry. This game sucks until you beat it.
Yeah.
And now that it's over, it's fantastic. Are you fucking stupid? Why would I play through a whole game, suffer through that, just so I could go back and experience it the better way? That's not a recommendation. That is the antithesis of a recommendation. That is you saying, avoid this fucking game because it's not worth it until 12 hours later.
Yeah.
Really? I got to put in a minimum of 8 hours into this game before it's worth playing? Go fuck yourself, you moron. Not to mention this guy says that he doesn't buy her ability to survive, which I agree with.
You discussed that.
Oh my god. Bitch should have died after the first scene. She got pierced through her abdomen with rebar. Like, in a jungle. She's going to go septic. She's going to have blood loss. No, oh, yeah. Anyway.
She was still crawling around.
Like, it wasn't necessary. That was my point, is she didn't have to have that happen to her. They abused her meaninglessly. She could have just fallen down a shaft and got a sprained ankle. That would be difficult enough to deal with, or whatever. Banged around, hurt herself. Like, it doesn't... Those are mortal wounds that she suffers. And he makes the point that she shouldn't. But then this dumb fuck takes it the next step and says that she shouldn't... She pulls off things that only Ryu Hayabasa from Ninja Gaiden could pull off. I'm sorry. What now? So what you're saying is all of the shit that happens to her would only be believable if it was a ninja that went through it. And then you would accept her incredible fortitude. So is it because she's not a ninja, or it's because she's not a man? I don't know which one of those things it is, but either way, the comment is fucking idiotic.
Yeah.
And it is in the first couple sentences. You're a fucking tool, whatever your name is. You're on the edge. And I don't mean like you're edgy. I mean that's the name of the website. The Edge. Moving right along. Okay. The Steam thing. I thought it was a cool idea. I love video games that have trading card bases, and as soon as I saw the Steam trading card beta, I was like, oh my god, there's going to be a trading card game that we can play. And I love them. I love that you do your little strategy, and then at the end you get like a booster pack and you get to open them, and one of them's rare. I don't know what it is about that hoarding mentality that it generates. It just scratches that itch so fantastically well. And this thing probably has absolutely nothing to do with any of that. It's probably what they suggested was maybe it was they say trading cards. So someone suggested that it could be like the value, or the reliability. That's a better phrase, of people that you could trade with on Steam. Like it would give them a rating so that you could trust them, which is neat. But I don't give a fuck,
right?
Because I'm not trading anything on Steam. I don't care. I think it would still be interesting if it was trading cards that represented items in game that could be traded for other cards with other people. So, like, if you could have, like, the hats in Team Fortress 2, then you get a trading card of it, and you can trade it to someone else, but not necessarily someone else that trades, that has Team Fortress 2, but that has something in, like, was it Dawn of the Ancients? I don't know. That MOBA thing where everybody fights each other, player on player. Dota, we'll call it, because I know that's great. Dota 2. Like, in that, they have chess that you can, but you don't, which is really weird. Actually, it's fucked up now that I think about it. You have chess that you can't unlock. You have to get the keys elsewhere. And I'm not sure if you can even earn the keys, but I do know that you can buy them with real-world money. So you have a fucking chest in your inventory. Like, you own this thing, but you can't get into it until you buy a key to unlock it. Which is like, that's like a double fuck you from the creators.
I fucking hate that shit.
It's like, not only are we going to make you pay for shit, but we're going to make you lug the shit around not knowing what it is until you finally decide to pay for it. Now, if you can earn the keys in-game, maybe not as bad. Maybe that's just a way to circumvent the time involved. Which I still think is kind of shitty, though, because... if it takes a lot to get these keys, then people who are willing to cough up the cash are going to improve better. But anyway, that's off the track. Okay, if you had these chests, or keys, I guess, to open chests, like maybe you could trade that with someone for a hat, and then they can use that key and trade it with some other Dota player that has some other hat that plays both games or whatever. That would be neat if there was a way, but, then it would develop this whole weird secondary economy, and I don't even know how that would work when you're trading a commodity that you can't personally make use of. Like, suddenly now Team Fortress people are going to know that this type of key in Dota is worth a ton. It's something they would never have any concept of, but this card that represents it would be worth so many other things to them.
Right.
Except it's worth nothing in and of itself to them, which is a little weird.
It is weird.
I mean, it's, that's the way a real market would work, and I'm not necessarily sure that we need to introduce that level of economics to our games. All right, VP Biden. Let's jump to that. I think I skipped something, but I don't really care.
Let's go on to Joe.
Joe, what are you doing?
He doesn't even know. He has no clue.
Seriously, like, I don't really follow politics too well. I mean, I pay attention to a degree, but I'm one of those guys. It's like, he's the VP. Fuck him.
Yeah.
It's like I didn't even care. I don't like. I have nothing against him. I've heard that he helped the ticket. Like he provided something. I'm sure, but this is my first real experience with him making a statement. And you're a dumbass, dude. Seriously, suggesting that there's no legislation that would inhibit taxing violent games. Okay, so first of all, you fuckwit. That's censorship.
Right.
So yeah, there's no specific legislation. There's just a constitution that says that you can't single out something based on content and penalize it. Like, that is intentional censorship. You're going to make something more expensive because you don't like what it contains. Now, if you think that it contains something that we shouldn't be experiencing, then that's a whole different track that we need to go down.
Yeah.
And maybe you need to introduce legislation about the level of violence. Or maybe stronger and stricter regulation of the sale of these things to people that you don't feel it's necessarily appropriate for. And then we have a whole new debate about what is considered maturity and at what level and blah, blah, blah. That's another path. Right now, you are pulling some 17th century England bullshit and taxing us to pay for other people's shit. Now, one of the people suggested that they use the taxation to help the victims of gun violence. As a cause, great idea. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, that's basically like saying, this happened because of this.
This is the cause.
That is an implicit suggestion that we are at fault for having made a game. Not you and I, but as an industry.
Maybe someday it'll be our
maybe.
fault.
Yeah, that's someday I hope people blame me for people getting shot in the face. God, I can't wait. No. But by using that money for that specific purpose, you're saying that it was a direct result of this, which it's not.
Right.
It's absolutely not. I'm sorry. I do believe that people become a little desensitized to violence, but not real violence. Like, I'm sorry, you may play a bunch of fighting games, but the first time a guy actually punches you in the face, you're going to have a whole different perspective on that, okay?
Yeah.
It's, that desensitization, out the
Gone.
window. I guarantee you that every CSI and Bones and Hawaii Five, any of that shit desensitizes you far more to the horrors of humankind.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I can't even believe that Law & Order SVU is in their, 300th season at this point. It's fucking ridiculous. It's awful. I can't even watch the show. Mm-hmm. I loved Law & Order for a time. It was fun to watch, and then it was always on fucking A&E, all day.
Yeah.
Like, it was just, A&E is Law & Order, Northern Exposure, and then in the winter, it's fucking James Bond. Like, that's all they show on the fucking channel. But the SVU, I can't watch it. Like, they're just... It's nothing but, raping children and abusing little girls and shit. And I'm just like, who decided this should be entertainment? To see all the ways in which we are awful to children. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to see it largely because I didn't want that. I did not want to find it acceptable. I didn't want that to be entertainment because I was actually concerned for myself that it would be like, well, maybe if I see this too much, I will be less concerned when it really happens because I'll be like, well, it fucking happens all the time, clearly, because,
Yeah, it's on TV.
Which maybe that's not realistic, but I certainly don't feel the need to offend myself with those kind of things. Well, I don't even read those kind of news articles, I know that they found the kid or something bad happened to the kid, and that's about as far as I go. I don't really want to hear about it. So, yeah, I will say video games probably desensitize us to a degree.
To a degree. I mean...
To violence. Yeah. I don't think it makes you pick up a fucking gun and go kill a bunch of kids in a school.
No. It takes a bit of training to learn how to use a gun.
Right. I'm sorry, Call of Duty doesn't teach you how to operate a fucking pistol.
No.
It just doesn't. You don't... Okay, you pull the trigger. No, you don't. There's a little bit more to it, trust me. You should be more concerned about these high fantasy games where they're swinging swords. That you don't really need a whole lot of training. Just swing a piece of metal at someone, they'll die.
Right.
But we're not coming after those guys for all those sword deaths. There are no sword deaths.
There might be.
I doubt it's statistically significant. But anyway, Joe, what the fuck, dude? Oh, and then furthermore, he suggested, this is where I really just lost my shit, he was like, I think that we need to have some studies done to see if these games have any effect on children. Do you? Do you? You fucking tool. Like, there was one that just came out last year.
Right.
Huge one that they had spent like 10 years going through. This data is available. What he's really saying is, I think we need a study that proves my point to be conducted, is what that is. Can we fund an investigation and some research into validating my opinion? Can we find that? Where is that out there? That's what Biden's saying.
It'll come out next week.
Yeah, right. It will.
We did this quick study.
It'll be trumped up, and it'll be funded by Rush Limbaugh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm not against our president and VP. Inherently, I don't have anything against them.
There's better things to worry about.
Yeah. So anyway, let's see. I think, yeah, we were almost going to get off on a rant about the ongoing struggles of women in the industry, in the gaming industry, and there were a couple articles that popped up in the past 2 days that I had a strong opinion on, and I'm going to avoid it now because I'm still formulating my thoughts. I will say I think there are strong points being made. I definitely think that things are unequal. I definitely believe there are double standard in a lot of scenarios. I am not an apologist. I am not one of those. What's that? There's these guys that are they're anti-feminist basically, but trying to dress themselves up as being supportive of feminists.
Yeah.
Like it's this weird. I don't. They have like a name. It's like M something. It's like a 3-letter acronym, I believe. And wow, they are some douchebags. I do not think that women are. That it's a myth. I'm not like a Holocaust denier or something about the state of women. Absolutely not. I just think that there are some of the effort needs to be directed into some more specific areas that they're complaining about. Like there's some of the things they're complaining about that are just like, that's not really the case. Like we need to, Anyway, we'll do that once I've gotten my thoughts together and I can, be a little more eloquent and intelligent in my discussion. And, perhaps a bit less, bash them on the head, drag them back to the cave with their hair, by their hair. I don't want to come across like that, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to anyway, so I'll just own it. But I do want to read more of these articles to see some of the more specific complaints. But in the meantime, could people stop taking pictures of their junk and their boobs and shit like that and just offending everybody? Can we hold off until Friday so that I can actually vent about all of this insanity? I know you're not going to out there, but that's my plea to the universe. Please let there be less offensive material between now and Friday.
That's it, a couple days.
Yeah, right? Can we just...
How hard is that?
Someone's gonna bomb somebody in the meantime. Like it's all gonna get pent up, and like Thursday night, there's just gonna be an air raid on Syria or some shit. Oh God! Now I've said it and it's out there. Anyway, do you have any PSN stuff?
It comes out this afternoon, so at this point,
so
I
no.
don't.
Oh yeah,
and it's
we're
nothing,
doing it a day early. By the way,
it's nothing new from. Sleeping Dogs is still going to be the free game. There is a demo for Star Wars Pinball, which I'm kind of excited about. I love pinball.
I've seen that. I played Pokemon Pinball for a long time. I'm man enough to admit that. I did enjoy that. I don't like... It is all about the theme for me. Mm-hmm. Like the Pokemon Pinball, you actually would capture things and you had to aim the ball and hit shit. That was actually kind of cool. So I could be with you on the Star Wars thing. I like the theme. I don't need any strawberry shortcake fucking pinball. That ain't going to work for me. Nor would I, CSI... Or Law and Order SVU themed one. I definitely don't want that.
No.
And I'm already imagining awful shit that they would be doing with the balls and the holes. And it's just awful. Oh, see what that shit does to you? See what it does to you. I'm already a bad person. I don't need fodder. Come on. Okay. This show's going to go out a day early. We're recording it a day early because you have family obligations, which means. there's one less day for everybody to appreciate our previous recording in which we shit all over Penny Arcade for their Kickstarter. I want to point out, before we wrap up, that I was really, really, really hoping, and I put it out there in the world through Twitter, that I was desperately hoping that the 100,000 stretch goal, well, the one past 75,000 that I just assumed was 100,000, that it would be them going, gotcha! We're donating all the money to Child's Play. And I'll be like, I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
No. It was, you know what, I should be specific, so I will pull it up because I know I got it. Penny Arcade. It was terrible. So we're just going to do this last thing before we go. And the 100,000 stretch goal, which, by the way, they are less than $3,000 away from.
What?
Yeah, as of this moment. Was that the podcast of a Thornwatch RPG adventure. So basically, they're going to go chuck some dice and be elves and shit. I don't know. I don't know what Thornwatch is, but I'm assuming. Clue. And record it. And then you can listen to it. Like, I want to fucking listen to you go play D&D. Like, if I had an interest in D&D, I'd want to play it. I don't want to listen to your version of it. Yeah. Fuck you. And also that everyone at the $35 reward level and above gets a Steam code for a game. It's called Defense Grid. I don't even know what it is. Who cares? Because you give away a fucking free $10 game.
But fuck 35
when you made
$100,000.
What if it's a $10 game? You know they're getting a deal because it's fucking Penny Arcade, and they currently are going to have to give it to about 2,500 people at $10. That's $25,000, which they'll have a discount, and they have cleared over 100,000. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's probably actually like a $4.99 game. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's not speculate. Let's go to the store at Steam. I'm just taking up all your time, dude. You're gonna be so late. Okay, Defense Grid. You still got time. But you may not be able to pick that shit up that you wanted to.
That's all right.
Defense Grid: The Awakening. Oh, it is a $10 game, and all of the content. Oh, wow! It actually may actually be close to a $20 gift. Yeah, $20 value. Thank you. That's the phrase. Because I'm a fucking idiot.
But they're still going to get a deal on it.
What does that have to fucking do with it? I don't even care. The whole thing should have been, they were like, no, we're actually giving this money to something good. Not, hey, we're going to give you a free fucking gift. We're going to, after we get 100,000 fucking dollars. And, what was there? They said above the $35 level. Which, by the way, of that 2,500 people, 1,131 of them are... Oh, let's add the other 44. So 1,175 people aren't at the level. So that's basically half.
Yeah.
So they're only spending half of that. I mean, I don't know. It's just like, really, if you give $150 to these guys for free, do you really give a shit about this little fucking $10 game that they're throwing back at you? Which I'm sure is just a fucking one of those tower defense games, which I fucking hate. Free Steam. Who gives a shit? Seriously. Why didn't... you know what? Honestly, I'm surprised at the 100,000 mark wasn't that they do an end credit music sequence.
Yeah.
That's honestly, that was the cynical side of me was expecting that. Mm-hmm. Hey, we'll do a credit sequence with music, and we'll mention for the rest of the 20, 2 people at the $10 level every time. Hey, thanks for helping us out. That would have been more in tune with everything that they've done so far. Anyway, listen to our podcast number 12 from last Friday, May the 12th? No. 10th? May the 10th. The Breakfast Blend number 12. Go listen to us go the fuck off for about a half an hour about the awfulness of every aspect of the Penny Arcade Kickstarter.
It was fun.
It was a good time. Shit was said. Awful claims were made.
No regrets.
People
no
were
regrets.
Insulted. It was just an unrelenting tirade of filth and hate directed at these guys. So really, I had a great time.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
All right. This has been your Breakfast Blend for... Oh, God. What is it? It's the 14th. Yeah. For May the 14th. And thanks for listening. We will catch you next time. say goodbye.
See ya.